Valor Fights 37 is happening on August the 27th, and we have a gentleman stepping in. Mr. Barnes is taking on Mr. Stewart. Now, I have Mr. Barnes with me. Sir, thank you very much for coming on and talking with me. How are you today?
I'm doing super good, but I seem to be getting better today. How you doing?
I'm absolutely fam dabby dozy is the best way to describe it. I'm feeling good. I know that Valor Fights got another fight card coming up. So, firstly, from my perspective, I'm amped because I know Tim is doing. I have to say he's doing a fantastic job on a regional show. The kind of he's pumping out the cards, but he's also putting on some good matchups. He's getting some very good fights in there. For yourself, though, early start and it's early days in your professional side of it's a professional bout, isn't it, against Tim Stewart? How are you feeling going into this fight?
I would start and say, yeah, man, I feel great and I'm excited. But the truth is, I am tired. Every day of practice, they put in new guys, beat the crap out of me. Drinking water, eating egg whites and stuff like that. And so basically, it's been a grind. But everything is coming along perfect, so I cannot complain at all.
Yeah, I was going to say the kind of level intensity. It's incredible how much your body has to absorb and how much it has to take, especially when you do like a Shark Tank. And for people who don't know what a Shark Tank is, well, they'll know what a Shark Tank is, but in mixed martial arts terms, or even in combat sports terms, really, it's when, for example, yourself, you're getting ready for your fight, they will just say, right, okay, you're going to do some wrestling, 2 minute round wrestling, and then they'll have someone else come in fresh for the next round, and someone fresh after that, and you'll do it like 5 or 6 rounds of someone fresh all the time, and it's exhausting. But the thing is, it's trying to teach you how to basically weather the storm, use technique, not try to power out of everything because you can't power yourself all the time. It's great in hindsight, but it's on. But when you get home, man, that sofa and that bed is the best feeling in the world.
Oh, they just don't understand. They don't understand how good that bed feels after you've gotten your butt whooped for like coach comes up, is like, yeah, man, we're gonna do 10 rounds today. And I'm like, Coach, you understand that we doing 5 minutes now, right? Not 3 minutes, because I don't know if you got the memo, but this is a pro fight. This is 5 minutes long. So we get in there with spar, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, yes, 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, and I'm like, hold on, I've already been in here for almost 2 minutes. Wait a minute, this is weird.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I gotta fight this guy for 2 more minutes,
yeah.
and you're like 2 minutes. That's nothing, but man,
Oh,
it's a whole lot.
well, how would you how have you felt then? I like I said, mate, that 2 minutes. No one appreciates how much 2 minutes is until you've done something like a combat sport where you went from MMA specifically, where it's 3 minute round in amateur, then five in pro. It's a different pacing. It's a different kind of fatigue on your body and mental as well because you get so used to doing 3 minutes. 2 minutes is that you're almost doubling the time. How have you found that transition? How do you find it physically and mentally the first time of doing it a few times?
Cardio, cardio, cardio. That's all it is. So you just increase your cardio, and that'll increase pretty much everything. So once I've I've done 5 minute training before in the past. I do it all the time.
Mm,
But the difference between now and then is once I start to get close to my fight, it's better to train for what you're going to fight. So we train 3 minutes. We do that, and then we make sure we empty the gas tank and have nothing left when we're
hmm
9 minutes in. Now we're working on doing that, but for 15 minutes, and you've got to pace yourself a different way, but you
Yeah,
don't want to take too much off to where it actually you're not really doing that much. So you got
yeah,
to keep the output high, but also keep the cardio high. It's it's fun, and it's a good puzzle to solve. And
yeah.
so a lot of people, they don't quite figure it out, and then they
Mm.
end up, with that adrenaline dump, or they end up, kind of losing some stamina there at the end. But we've got a good regimen workout that we're doing, so I'm feeling pretty stout about going 15 minutes.
Well, the thing for me. It was really weird, especially in the UK. Anyway, we didn't have, for example, a set rule for amateur. Right, I would literally say it was like the wild, wild west. Right, a few years back. I'm saying a few years back now, when the amateur scene was happening, each promotion had their own view on what an amateur bout was, what the amateur rules were, etc. Right, when I was doing amateur bouts, mine were 5 minutes long. So I was really lucky in that sense that I had a 5 minute
That would
bout.
have been awesome.
Like For me, that's why I ask people, because I don't know what it's like to go from 3 to 5. I don't know. I've always went. My first ever bout was 5 minute bout. There you go, in you go, bang, 5 minutes, and I was like, okay, then. Well, now luckily it only lasted. I think it lasted 1 minute 20, but it was the principle. I was already training 5 rounds, a 5 minute round, and then went into it. So that's why I think I wish I knew what it was like, this transition. But then again, I feel kind of lucky in that sense. I think the 3 minute rounds is good because it helps. It's that building up. It's that kind of stepping stone. You build yourself up, little steps, and you get there to the 5 minute rounds. Let's go then to, you said cardio. Cardio is king. All right, we all know this. It's not a muscle group that you can work out in the gym, sadly, because if it was, I'd bench curl it all the time. But now, cardio is huge. Strength and conditioning, though, is also really, it's for me, I found strength and conditioning is a really complex debate because there's so many different takes on it. How you should do strength and conditioning, what exercises actually work, what exercises matter. For yourself, do you know what works for you? Do your coaches do it? Do you always experiment? How's your strength and conditioning side?
So when it comes to strength and conditioning, I've got maybe two words for that. His name is Cody Gully.
Okay.
And trying to keep Cody Gully from choking you to death will make you a very, very strong person. So there, the jujitsu and the wrestling aspect, that pushing and pulling against a human body, is almost the same as, pushing weights up and down and things like that.
Yeah.
So we supplement the weights aspect, but we pay a whole lot of attention to using the right muscle groups whenever we're doing things, because it's all about moving the right way and leverage, not as much as about strength. And so I played college football, and I played football ever since I was 7. Started lifting weights when I was 14. So being strong isn't a problem for me. It's using my strength the right way.
Yes.
So for me as a fighter, everybody has to have it tailor-made to how they're going to be productive in the cage. And we decided to go the other route of being very efficient and using my strength in the right way instead of building more strength. It's nothing to pick up, 400 or 500 pounds in a deadlift, but to try to move that over to using it in MMA, that's where we're at now. And we're doing a great job of putting it together.
I've got to ask because I love my football. For folks around the world listening, we mean American football, college football, American football. What position did you play? Were you offense, defense?
I played running back in college. I was a linebacker and a running back in high school. I traveled with the team on special teams in college. And I didn't get to play running back in college because the guy that was in front of me was pretty much the fastest man in the state. And there's nothing you could do about a guy who runs a 4.240. And you pretty much just watch him fly away.
Man.
So he was the starting running back, but I was able to go out there and play special teams and stuff and travel with the team. I actually played down in Alabama, Georgia, all of the big places with the big stadiums.
Nice.
So the pressure, I handled the pressure a lot different than say a lot of guys that get into MMA, they've actually never been in front of a screaming crowd.
That was my question.
Or they've not been in front of a screaming crowd of people who hate you.
Yes.
So you just gotta figure out how to do that, because whenever I was coming up as a high schooler, getting booed was kind of weird. When you're 15, 16 playing varsity, and all the people are booing you, and the guys are like, "Take him out, get him out of the game." You figure out how to handle that, at an early age. So now it's pretty much about the task at hand. When you're in there, I'm just focusing on getting the job done. It's a job. I got to go do my job very well. I don't get paid for overtime, just like everybody else says. So we try and get them out of there as fast as possible.
No, I agree. Do you know what that is? An experience. See, that's one of the things that you wouldn't think about before you step in there. But that kind of, away from home, like for example, when every fight I've had is away from home because you don't have it where I am. So I've been there again. I step in. I'm the foreigner. I'm the guy that no one likes. People don't want him there. They want me to lose and the guy to win. Fine, I'm used to it by now. I've had it every fight. So every time I walk in there, I've had over I think in total now, amateur and pro is like 14 buyouts or something. Anyway, so it's an experience that you can. It's something that can really make or break someone as the fight's about to start. It's a mental side that, especially in the fight when the guys throw the punch and not much, if they don't land it, but it's close, and that crowd goes wild because they think it's landing. It can knock you a little bit, or it can spur that person on, which then gives them a little burst. Let's say, definitely can have a detrimental effect to your performance, especially if you're not used to it. I think for you, then you've got a good mindset of going in there beforehand, experiencing that before. Trust me, I think that is something that people do not appreciate. But I don't know what team you support, if you do support a team in football, but I'm a San Diego Chargers fan.
Not Duke.
I'm a San Diego Chargers man myself.
Okay.
Who do you,
NFL, I don't really follow NFL that much. I usually like college football a lot.
I like college,
follow
yeah.
Carolina. I don't follow Duke, but my brother loves Duke, so
Does
I
he?
have to hate Duke. That's how we work.
Well, yeah, I watch college football. I don't pick a side on college football only because for me, I only started watching it. I probably started following college about a couple of years after started getting into the NFL, and I found that it helped me learn the game. And it was a lot more. I think it's a lot more fun. College football, there's less risks. It's not multi-million-dollar contracts on the line at that day, and some of the plays, when they're fourth and down, and we're going to kick it, and they don't, and they think of these wild, crazy plays, and they're just awesome to watch. I like that. I love that about the college game. What I like is, like you said there, big stadiums, 100,000 people watching a college football game. That is some intensity right there. So let's go back to the MMA side of things. So why did you transition from, you're doing college football? What made you go to the MMA side of things then?
Well, the first fight I saw, I'm not sure if it was the first fight or the second fight between Anderson Silva and Rich Franklin.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the one where he ended it with knees. I'm not sure which one that was, but I was watching with good buddy Aaron, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this doesn't look that hard. I can do it. This is easy. How much does he weigh? 185 pounds? Nothing. I had no idea about cutting weight. Nothing. I show up at a gym. It's been 2 years since I played, so I'm looking to get back in shape. Plus, I'm like, well, I should probably learn how to fight just in case I need to defend my girl's honor.
Yeah, yeah.
And, a good friend of mine, Arun, he punches me square in the face. I go to take a step back, but my brain doesn't tell my foot to do the math, so I go down. Second, I just start laughing. I'm laughing. I get up. I'm like, what was that? He's like, you got to keep your hands up. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I was like, this is what I need to learn. And I took my first fight, and I ended up knocking that guy out. And I was pretty much hooked from there. I was like, this is fun. I've got to do this. And I'm glad that I have a good support system too. My fiance supports everything that I do. And, so I'm able to keep going and keep fighting.
Yeah.
Trying to make a name for myself.
It's a good. Do you know what? You're one of them ones that I've seen it in the gym many times when someone comes in and they go kind of similar thing. They watch the fight. I can do that, and they come in and then they get cracked, and you see their world just crumble, and then they just don't come back again because it's reality. They just don't realize what's going on, and some people need that, and that's the thing. The guys that are going to stick around because they're the ones. If you crack them, and they go, oh, that sucked, and they come back the next day, or the next session, and they keep coming back for more. They're the guys you kind of start to respect, you appreciate. I'm the same as you, but I wasn't cracked. I got my ass handed to me on the mat. I was about 220 pounds, and the kid was about 145, maybe 135 pounds, somewhere around that region at the time. 17-year-old, was he about 17 years old, and just mangled me, just had his way with me. I had about 10 seconds of bench press power in me, and after that I was just a mess. I held him off for a very short period of time, and after that he just had his way, and I was tapping all the time. I just couldn't get, my brain was trying to compute what was going on while my body was trying to recover, and I was just a mess. If I could have seen my face, I honestly, it would have been a picture in itself. And it's one of them things I was like, I can't have that. I'm not having that again. I'm coming back. And you just keep going. And it's addictive and it's a beautiful sport. There you go. Anderson Silva, he definitely got people's eyes. And do you have people that you aspire in a sense that you look at and you think, man, I love the way that dude fights and the way they fight? Is that something that's rubbed off on you, or do you like their style?
A lot of the styles that I look at, obviously, guys like Floyd Mayweather in boxing.
Yeah.
A lot of influences that I had in MMA coming up. Nick Diaz, I really like the way he fights. Minus the, voluntarily getting hit in the face and saying, come on, 209, slapping people.
Yeah.
But, the combinations that he put together are, phenomenal. Let's see, Vasyl Lomachenko, the amateur guy with like 400 amateur fights that's winning. I've watched some of his. I've diligently watched a lot of things that he do. He moves very well, and I try and keep more of my boxing movement, and then incorporate my wrestling into it. And then guys like Jordan Burroughs. It's a combination of everybody, because you realize that you have to take everything separate and then figure out your way to put it all together. So I take
absolutely,
the blast double from Jordan Burroughs. I take the combinations from Nick Diaz. I look at Marcelo and things like that. And I try and put it together with things that I can do. Like, I can't do rubber guards, so me and Eddie, we don't get along. But everything else, we try and put together.
Yeah, he's sucking his thumb right. He's sucking his toe right now, thinking, "What's the problem?" Yeah. It's there's certain moves that suit certain people, and like you say, it is a collective. Yeah, I was going to say, because if anyone says there's one person, it's impossible. There has to be a varied amount of people to kind of you mangle them all together, and it gives you what you are, and it helps influence who you are and your style. It's certainly, I find that over time I've looked at different fighters and keep adapting and changing. You'll always change. So I'm guessing, the Diaz kind of style, is that something then you when you're fighting, are you trying to make that combinations but you're not doing the power? Because for them, it's all about that 50%, 60% on the power, so they can have that longevity in the 3 or 5 rounds. Is that something that you do? Is it, or you when you're cracking, you're putting them to sleep?
Well, I've noticed that over the years I do have a very good amount of power in my hands, but when it comes to wrestling, my head coach, he has done the math to translate wrestling to MMA so well. I trained at Triple G under Chad McFadder, and what he teaches the idea of being relentless. And so we're relentless when we wrestle. And then if you can take Nick Diaz, everyone says that guy's relentless whenever he, is standing in front of you, and it's just punches coming after punches. They don't have to be hard, but they just don't ever stop. So, if I'm relentless when I'm on the feet, and if I'm relentless when we're on the ground, there's no way out. And if I can present that to my opponents that, hey man, when they close that door, there's no way out of here, and good luck if you haven't trained 100%. I feel like that sets the pace for the entire fight, and I'm able to control it.
No, absolutely, I agree. So then, what's your goal? What is your goal then for your MMA career? You're stepping up for the professional side of things. Do you have not necessarily a timeline, because it's impossible to have a timeline, because if you get injured tomorrow and I put you back out for 6 months, everything goes tits up. So do you have a goal? Do you have ideas of what you want to achieve? Or are you just, I want to get that fight out of the way and then just see where each fight takes me?
No, I have a goal. So here's the plan. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if I win this fight, I'm going to call out Baby Slice.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to be like, Tim Lloyd set it up, and then I'm going to ask Casey Oxendine to drop the mic, because he don't like to hand the mic to anybody. And then after that, that puts me, if I get lucky, beat Baby Slice, I'm calling out CM Punk. This is the best time to be an up-and-coming fighter, because they've got all these high-class fighters with no fights. And, we like guys like Kevin Lee and things like that, but there's no way commissions are going to set up a fight with a guy who has 20, 30 fights against a guy who has one. So they need a guy. I fit the bill. I'm going to be campaigning for all of these big-name fights for all these young guys.
Good idea. I like this. I like this. I like the fact that you've got that goal, you've got that vision, and now all that's going to happen is the first step, 27th, sorry, of August.
Uh-huh.
Get that one out of the way. Look, we're not far away from it at all, and you're obviously prepping. You're feeling good. Let's round this off with, if I'm wanting to follow you and join you on your journey to get into this goal, what's your social media, man? How have you got a Twitter? Have you got a Facebook? Have you got a MySpace? What have you got?
Well, I don't have MySpace. I should probably set one of those up. I feel like that might be important. I didn't even think about that.
You see, you got to think
But
outside the box, mate.
I got to think outside the box. If you want to follow me on like a smaller platform like Facebook, I think some of the guys might have that.
Yeah, a couple.
You can follow me at Punch Out Power. You can follow me, Shonte Barnes is my fan page, but you can get there through Punch Out Power. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram is all at Punch Out Power. Or you can just go to my website, www.punchoutpower.com, and you can just get everything from there. You can follow me from there.
I will put the link anyway online, people, because in the little description box, because people are too lazy to probably even search it. So they like the click buttons. It's does it all for them. What about sponsors then? Have you got any people helping you out training wise? Is there any kind of companies there locally even helping you out?
At this point, I'm still working on, setting up, concrete sponsors. I have a lot of people that help me along the way.
Mm-hmm.
By me being the baby of the family, I pretty much just pick up the phone and I call Big Brother. I'm like, hey, Bobby, so here's the thing. I need like $500 so that I can do this, this, and this. He yells at me for about 5 minutes and he's like, all right, okay, well, let me know everything you need and I'll go get it taken care of. I've even gone so far to drive down to him. I've got his credit card in my back pocket and I just go on a swipe spree of all the things I think I might need. I'm like, I need a sauna suit. Yeah, let me go get one of those. He's not gonna mind.
Yeah.
So, at this point, it's pretty much family support and friends a lot. I've gotten lucky that I have a ton of friends who support me with this, so they all help me out. And the biggest thing they can do is come to the fight.
Yeah.
Get tickets and come to the fight, because that gives me more negotiating power whenever you think about fights in the future.
Yes.
Because it's not about how good you can fight. It's not about anything like that. It's all about the asses that you put in the seat.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest goal, is to create a fan base and get people to follow you and get them to come to the fight, so that, there's a whole lot of value in me being at shows.
No, I agree with you. Now, it's going to be on Flow Combat, so that's a great thing. I think if you're trying to attract any company, I think the fact that it's going to be streamed live on Flow Combat, which is, picking up steam, and a lot of people sign up to it. It's a great thing they've got going there. Then let's wrap it up before then with, you said your gym before, but how about we say where your gym is? Because if I want to train, I live locally, I'm listening to this and go, oh man, how do I train then? How do I get into it? Where is the gym? Mention about, all your people that are helping you out, friends, not just friends, family, coaches, training partners in particular that helps you out. Let's give a little bit of time, a bit of appreciation.
Okay, yeah, my head coach is Chad McFadden. I train out of Triple G MMA. It's in Asheville, North Carolina. It's right there on French Broad River Road, for anybody that's in the area that know where we are. All of my training partners, there's so many to name that it'll be hard to name them all, and I'm afraid to start naming and then miss somebody, and then I show up at the gym and CJ's like, hey man, how come you didn't shout me out? And then all of a sudden I get a nut shot. But, my main training partners for this fight have been Andre Roy, Cody Gully, Jeff Anderson. Manny's been helping me a whole bunch with my striking. A lot of guys like that, CJ. And Veronica, she's actually an Olympic wrestler, and I believe it was the match before in the Olympic trials. She injured her knee, but she's been out and helping me a ton with working on, my tightening up all the wrestling things that we put together. We've had guys that, came in. I've had a guy, Charles Daniels, he came down from Hawaii to help me out with camp. So we're actually, even though this is a debut fight and it's, it's happening on the regional scene, we're actually putting a whole bunch into getting prepared for this fight. My brother, Coulter, all the other guys who have, not only come to the fights, but if they can't make it, they sponsor tickets so that I can help out a lot of the other guys who want to come to the fight, but they don't necessarily have the means to come. We
Mm-hmm.
make it as feasible as possible for
Yeah.
everybody to come. Andy, Myrna, carpooling, things like that. I've got
Yeah.
a million people to name, and I can't name them all. So I'm just going to say I love you all.
And you all
insert your name here. My fiance, Kristen. I got to make sure I say her name last so that she knows she's the most important thing. She's my rock. She holds it all together when I'm sitting at the house and I'm stressing. I'm like, how am I going to get these tickets sold? How am I going to get these T-shirts? Everybody wants a T-shirt. I've got to mail all this stuff out. I don't know what I'm going to do. And she's just there to be like, listen, you got it. This is easy. You train every day for this, so just get it done.
Yeah, exactly. It is easy. And like you said before, you're treating this first fight as like everything, like it's your all, and that's how you should treat every fight. You should put every fight from your first amateur bout to your last pro bout. You should put every ounce of focus in, because every fight is it's nowhere. It's always going to be bigger than the last one. No matter what it is, each fight is its most important one, man. I'm sure you're putting, like you said, the focus that you've got there and the people you've got around you. You're putting that effort in. I'm sure Valor Fights are going to appreciate having you on this card and performing for them. And I'm sure they'll be begging you to come back. And look,
hopefully,
positivity, they will. Positive PMA, positive mental attitude. It's what it's all about, sir. A huge weapon is the mind, and that is a very dangerous weapon. Look, thank you so much for your time. I've had a pleasure speaking with you and getting to talk with you, my friend. I'm sure it's going to be awesome at Valor Fights. Flow Combat, everyone. Get on, subscribe, watch the fight card, and watch Mr. Barnes perform.
All right, and one last thing. If you can't make it to the fight, or if you want to get the Flow Combat subscription, if not, at my local pool room, Fat Cats Billiards, they are actually showing the fight on 4 TVs.
Oh, nice.
So you can go watch there live, and then we're going to do a replay party whenever I get back. Okay, that's kind of like maybe a 80-20, type thing for the replay party, because I ain't going to show up and be like, listen, I slipped and then knock myself out on the mat. Yeah. So I ain't going to sit here and listen to y'all. But we might do a replay party and things like that, so we can get together and celebrate with everybody. So
awesome
if you want to get down to Fat Cats, come on down to Fat Cats and watch it with everybody. If not, like he said, Flow Combat is where it's at.
Fantastic
stuff. Best thing is to go. Best thing is to go. Nothing like watching it live.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Get a ticket on Mr. Barnes. Contact him straight away. Thank you again, Mr. Barnes. Have a great end to your fight camp. Have a great fight and have a great weekend with Valor Fights.
All right, let's do this again sometime.